Hey, this is Linda with the Life Station Express, the relay station. We bring the news to you. And today, my news is a recipe, a keto recipe. I'm going to show you my recipe for dried milk powder bread and rolls. Okay, I need to move my camera, so just a second. Give me some grace here. I have this on a tripod and I need to just put it in the right space. I tried pausing it earlier and it didn't work. So there we go. There's my workspace, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. All right, there we go. The ingredients that we need are heavy cream powder, and here's my heavy cream powder. I have it open right now, and this is a little pricey. This 2-pound container was $28. So I'll tell you what I've done in the past. I'm going to use this solely for this one, but what I've done in some of my previous times making this, it calls for a cup and a half of the heavy cream powder. I have used either buttermilk powder or regular milk powder for the half a cup. I have a cup of this heavy cream powder, and then I've added either buttermilk powder or regular, like the Carnation instant milk powder, just to make it a little more economical, because that's just a little bit less pricey. Although doing that does add a few carbs, so keep that in mind. Today I'm going to use the whole cup and a half of the heavy cream powder. There we go. You need 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and I got the non-aluminum kind. And yes, I forgot my tablespoon measurer. Just a second. There we go. I thought I had everything, of course. So here's the heavy cream powder. And I'm just going to add to that while I have things here. 1 full tablespoon of baking powder. Do that. And then that's pretty much it for this. And I'm just going to take my dry fork, stir that around a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, just to get that just mixed in, just a little bit. This was my mom's Pyrex measuring cup, so I love using it. In the smaller mixing bowl, I have a smaller one and a larger one. I have two eggs. And the way I'm going to mix my eggs is by using a traditional egg beater. So we're just going to take care of that right now. You know, you can take your aggressions off anything by doing this. You don't have to do it that fast. Anyway, they get nice and bubbly. Just put a little bubble in there. Those are 2 eggs. In the large mixing bowl, we're going to combine the 2. So I'm going to put the milk powder. There we go. I'm going to put the milk powder in the bowl first. And I'm going to just, again, mix in that baking powder. Just get it mixed in there really well. Okay. I'm just doing this kind of quickly. Really, it's so simple. I could just tell you how to do it, but I thought this would be a nice way to do it as well. Now, what you want to do is just mix in your eggs. Of course, take your time. Just go ahead and mix them in. I do like a half, and then I do the other half. I'll show you what it looks like. Whoops. Whoops. It just gets mixed in very easily. I should just sit this down and do it the right way, huh? I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. And you can tell, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to put the rest of it in now. I love these the smallest spatula that you can get from Pampered Chef. I use these all the time. I have at least 5 of them, the little spatulas, because you can get everything out of your bowl with those. I'm going to finish mixing the egg in this. Now, if you look up the recipes online, they're going to say 4 small eggs or 2 large eggs. Well, I had 2, I'm going to say regular size eggs. here. And what I do when I think it's not the right consistency, it needs to be a little looser, I put in a little egg white. I just keep that on hand. I have egg whites, the liquid egg whites in my fridge, usually all the time for making chaffles. And I just put a little of that in if I need to just make this a little, I guess you would call the consistency gooey. I don't know what other word to use. And I'll show you. When you look this up, now I know Bella, the steak and butter gal, there you go. She makes this and she's got a really good recipe. And other gals have other recipes online. See, that's kind of like, it's like a cake batter, actually. And that's, honestly, that's still a little stiff. I'm just going to put a little more in. I could have used just another whole egg. That would have been fine. But I wasn't sure, so I just had this. It's easier just to pour in a little bit. You don't want to make it too runny. And there we go. Maybe you can see that. Hopefully you can see that. It's kind of just a gooey little batter. You can just like wipe it off the fork. And that, my friends, is it. There's your bread roll batter. There we go. Now, let me wipe this with my finger a second. That's it. That is all you do. If you want to add a little salt, or you want to add a little garlic seasoning, or anything that you would like to season your bread with, feel free. You can do that. So again, it's the milk powder and baking powder and 2 to 3 eggs. I'll just put it that way. 2 to 3 eggs. And preheat your oven, which I forgot to do. Mine's preheating right now. And what I do is I take one of these spatulas, the small one. If you look this recipe up online, they're going to tell you and they're going to show you, and that's fine. If that's, this is the original, from the original. They get a bowl of water and they make their hands wet and they just kind of pick up some of the dough, make it into a ball and put it on they actually in the other videos use a cookie sheet with parchment paper. I have a Pampered Chef pizza stone. So I'm not going to use the parchment. My friend suggested, Linda, why are you using parchment? You got a stone. Use the stone. So I did try it and they did not stick. So we're going to do that. This amount of batter will make 6 rolls. Okay. So, if you were to do the math, this was $28. I get probably 5 or 6 batches out of that. And you just put, I'll use a scientific word, a blob. Just put a blob of your dough on your, if you use a cookie sheet with parchment paper, that works wonderfully. If you want to use a stone, that works fine. If you want to use, a smaller batch, cut it in half. If you're making them just for yourself, or, you and your husband and you're only going to make it for one meal, or if you've got a bunch of kids and you want to make a whole bunch of these, double the recipe or triple it, whatever you want to do. I always try to get all of it out of here. Let's see, which one should I put it on? I'll put the rest on this one. And then you can shape these into whatever shape you want. I like them to be, these are going to be like what I would use for a hamburger bun. So I'm going to give them a little bit of height, make them more like a ball instead of flat. Honestly, you can do whatever you want. And then they go in the oven, and I will not extend this video any longer because you can see what they look like. I will attach a picture in the first comment of the video that I'm doing on YouTube under my page, Life Station Express. And I'll put a picture of some other ones that I've made, and you can see what they look like when they're finished. I'm going to stick these in the oven for between 10 and 11 minutes. I always set my timer for 10, and then I say, oh, they need 1 more minute. Now, I will tell you this. The reason that I put them on the stone is I'm trying to find a way where I had seen some of the gals when they were making theirs talk about the bottoms being too brown. And let me see if I can get this back up now. They were talking about the bottoms of their rolls, sorry about that, being too brown. And I did I've made these probably, I don't know how many times, but the first time I made them, yes, the bottom was too brown. And, you know, we ate them anyway, that was fine. But then I thought, well, someone had suggested moving your oven rack up, not to the very top, but just up from where you normally have it in the middle of your oven. And I did that, and it was better. They were not as brown. And then I thought about using a stone. And again, I told my friend about, hey, I'm going to use a stone. She said, yeah, that makes sense. Try that. They might not get as brown on the bottom because the stone is thicker. I don't know why. My reasoning was the stone, you know, it's a little thicker than a metal cookie sheet. They're cute like that, aren't they? Anyway, and then when I was making them and she was watching me make them, she said, why are you putting parchment paper? They should just be able to go on the stone without sticking. And I was like, well, I was afraid they'd stick. So then I did try it the next time I made them without the parchment paper, and they were fine. I just took a metal pancake turner, and just slid underneath of them, and they came up, and they were not burnt or brown too far on the bottom. They were just right, actually. The bottoms were just right. So that is my journey. I have made probably, I don't know. I've gone through 2 containers of heavy cream powder. I've experimented with the regular milk powder and the buttermilk powder as in addition to the heavy cream powder, you know, the ratio. Put 1 cup of the heavy cream powder and then half a cup of the other, just to save a little bit of money. Again, you add a few carbs when you do that. This is pretty low carb. I mean, this is just eggs, and heavy cream has less than 1 carb per tablespoon. So heavy cream, if you're on a ketogenic lifestyle, heavy cream is a great way to go if you're substituting, like for dairy and for milk. If you want it in a recipe, you can just add a little water to some heavy cream. If you want to have a little glass of milk, or you want to give it to your kids, make some chocolate milk for your kids or whatever. I just love heavy cream. I love it. And then when I found this recipe, and I've been looking for, you know, if you followed my page, I've got chaffles, I've got the cottage cheese bread wraps, I made them. We're always looking for an alternative to wheat, an alternative to regular store-bought bread, which is full of glyphosate and full of carbs, you know, and seed oils. It's just terrible. Don't buy bread, even if it says keto, it's still terrible. But when I found this recipe and I looked at multiple versions of it, and almost everybody was doing the same thing, using the heavy cream powder and a couple eggs and then the baking powder, just mixing it together. I skipped the stage of the step of, you know, forming them into little balls with water on your hands. That's messy. I didn't want to do that, so I didn't. I just used my spatula, plopped them out on the sheet, and there they are. And they're going to be our hamburger rolls. They do work really well for hamburgers. We've done that. We just slice them lengthwise, you know, this way, sideways, with a serrated knife when they come out, and they're great. So I think that's it. Like I said, I'll put a picture in the first comment under this video, and you can see what they look like. Just going to put them in my oven, 10 minutes to 11, and they'll get golden brown, and then that'll be it. We'll have 6 burger buns for tonight, or from whenever. You can slice these and put them in the toaster. You can put them in your skillet when you're making eggs, if you want to toast a little bread, or if you want to make, they're so versatile. Just do with them what you want. Just do what you want. Anyway, I'm so glad I found this recipe. This is Linda with the Life Station Express, the relay station. We bring the news to you, and that's the news for today. Our new way of making bread and buns for keto. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.